think the evolution of Mandi and I's relationship is really special to me. You know, this was a group of women that I helped bring to this campus, and so my connections have stayed really strong with them, but with Mandi it's stayed stronger.
Nobody in my family left and went far away for college. And so I got here and I just remember my mom dropping me off and me just crying. I just sobbed, I sobbed for probably about 15 or 20 minutes, like uncontrollably. It was really embarrassing. But because I learned so much while I was here and I got to meet so many very interesting people, you know, after the first week or so, I wasn't really scared anymore. And like Oberlin throws you right in. You learn so much probably in the first week. I had met the first transgender person that I had ever met before in my life. I had people openly talking about being gay and bisexual, and people talking about, you know, respecting safe sex and all this stuff. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, where did my family send me? But because I was exposed to all of this stuff and I met so many different people who had so many different journeys and were on so many different paths in their life, I was able to kind of take a little bit from everybody and become who I am now, which I am extremely proud of, because I not only have, you know, a good job and like I can like afford rent and stuff, which is great, but also like I have this care and compassion for people that I wouldn't say I didn't have before, but now I've really learned to hone in on it and figure out, hey, this person has a story, this person matters, this is just what's on the outside that I see.
I had the pleasure of working with Mandi as her academic advisor, and this would have been mid-2000s, and she actually represented my first class as an advisor. I had been at the college for a couple of years, but I moved to Student Academic Services and inherited 5 or 6 advisees at that time, and Mandi was one of them. So that kind of started our relationship, and I just remember Mandi as, you know, this very bright-eyed 18-year-old coming into my office straight from Chicago, and just being very motivated, very friendly, and she was one that just always kind of took the initiative, took advantage of all that Oberlin had to offer. Gosh, I feel like, you know, Mandi came in, you know, as a very mature young lady, because again, you know, the drive is one of the things that I saw from her initially. But as she continued here, I think she just she became more aware of you know, what Oberlin had to offer, and outside of Oberlin. Because, you know, now we're talking about internships, we're talking about the world outside of Oberlin that I saw her starting to get ready for. And I think the things that she was doing here, like Mellon, like peer mentoring, these were all things that helped to strengthen, you know, Mandi while she was here, but at the same time she was also getting ready, you know, for that big step outside of Oberlin.
I was a Bonner Scholar, I was an RA, I was a student phoner for the phoning room, which I don't know if they call it that now, but I basically called alumni and begged them for money. I was a NIDE Scholar tutor, which basically means I had 3 or 4 kids who went to Oberlin High School, and I taught them about college and like how to get in and what to do and blah, blah, blah. And I feel like I did something else. Oh, I was a peer mentor as well. So like the freshman class that came in who were low-income minority students, first-generation college students, I was kind of like their friend, but I got paid for being their friend, which was really cool. So doing all that and doing athletics. So my freshman year, I played basketball, and then my sophomore year, I decided to join the volleyball team. I always played in high school and I loved volleyball so much, but I didn't know if I could really do both. So I decided sophomore year to continue that. And so 2 sports, 4 jobs, and I had like friends somehow, which was pretty cool.
I feel like Mandi is one of my most favorite Oberlin alums. And I feel, one of the reasons I feel that way is I have this great personal connection to her last moments on campus as a student. And she was running across Tappan Square and she's holding her cap and gown and everything's flying. I stopped her and I said, you know, congratulations, I just want to give you a hug, this is so cool. And I said, so what happens next, you know? And she said, well, I've always wanted to be an on-air journalist. And so I sit there and look at her now, 10 years, almost 10 years after her graduation, and I think how amazingly wonderful that is, that she identified a goal and she put all the pieces in play to achieve that goal. She never looked back. And the whole time being just as gracious and accessible as a board member, as a contributor to the Heisman Club.
So being an athlete was very important to me when I was here. I don't know how I did it because there was always some game or something going on, but it was always really important to me. And being able to be on a team gave me sort of built-in friends, and these friendships that I still admire, and I'm so grateful for 10 years after I've graduated. And that really motivates me to stay connected and stay a part of this community, even though I don't feel, you know, like I'm not trying to like say the slang hip words. I'm not going that far. I don't want to be that connected to the community. I just want to, I want to know what's going on, and all of that is really important to me. So being a member of the Heisman Club, I'm sort of able to stay tuned with what's happening in Oberlin athletics and the greater Oberlin community, which is really, really important to me. And I'm so grateful that there's all these other past athletes who are also on the board and who are also giving back and really encouraged. And my friends for both the basketball team and volleyball team know that at least a couple times a year, I'm gonna send them annoying text messages and annoying emails, and they better give back to the Heisman Club, because I'm not messing around. Because when I see them on our like little reunions that we do, I'm gonna say something, I'm gonna be mad. So they know that athletics is so important to me, and it was so important to them too. So I'm happy that we can all sort of be on this journey together.
You know, I can say this, that, you know, she's always given her all. I think we're still seeing that from her today. You know, she's always had that drive, that determination.
I think the strongest people always have strong support, and you find your community, and whether it's another person or if it's a group of people, fantastic. But everyone needs people in their balcony, right? Cheering them on and applauding their efforts and helping pick them back up when they fall down. And you know, I think one of the greatest things about athletics is you get an instant community of support. You get people in your balcony. And Mandi, because of who she is, her balcony is full. I mean, people are standing in the hallway waiting to join her team. I mean, she is incredible. Like, everybody wants Mandi to be successful, and that's because of her. She is a magnet, and you know, she made a team better. She made all of us smarter. She made all of us work harder. But that's the point of a team. Like, you have your community, and you know, united we win, united we lose, but we are always united. And Mandi is somebody who unites people.
It's something that has really always struck me as being an alum is that Oberlin never really leaves you. Now that I live in Cleveland, it's a lot easier to come back and visit and all that good stuff. But even if I wasn't so close and I didn't have that ability, Oberlin is always such a huge part of me, and it's such a huge part of my life. When you reconnect with your friends who you haven't seen in a long time that went to Oberlin, you guys can just talk about all this stuff that just means so much to you, and you guys can all relate on a very personal level. And coming back to the campus and seeing how things are now, I mean, things have changed so much, but they've stayed the same. There's different buildings, and there's different professors and different coaches and all that stuff, but the values of Oberlin are still exactly as they were when we were here, and probably even better.